pleasure to be joined by Darren Pang from the Chicago Sports Network, talking a little Chicago Blackhawks. And Darren, it's been a great start to the year for the Blackhawks. And I'm sure every single radio and podcast appearance you've done this year, you've been asked about Connor Bedard. So let me be no different. I will start with Connor Bedard. The numbers, the production, all that's great. What parts of his game have taken a step forward that have allowed him to have this sort of breakout start to the year?
Yeah, hey Ty, and hey, it's good to see you guys. Glad to be on the show with you guys. Well, you probably saw last night's game where he got a 2-minute minor, for unsportsmanlike conduct. But besides that, I love his passion. I love the way he comes to the rink every day. He wants to be a difference maker. He's not happy with the team not being any good. He said it right from the beginning of the season that he wants this team in the playoffs. He wants to win now, and he doesn't want to win in 3 or 4 years. So he's leading the charge. What he's doing great, like every other young player. First couple of years in the league, you're kind of tiptoeing through the water a little bit and getting your toes wet, and you're just trying every single day, get to the rink, and you're just. It's hockey. I think what he's doing now is he's enjoying the game. He's enjoying going out for dinner with the guys. His personality is really coming out, and it really shows. He hasn't taken a step back from working hard in the game, but he's taken a step back in how much time he spends, I think, at the rink, and how much time he spends, dying with every play that happened in the last game and what's going to go forward. So he's a great kid. Really getting to know him well, and I go back to it. And Hutch, you saw a lot of these young players, and you were a young player once, and I was a young player once. At the very beginning, you kind of wait your turn, and well, now it's his turn, and he's really taken it over. He's been marvelous all season long. I've got him in my right now. He's got to be in that Hart Trophy talk. I know it's early in the year, but he's been that good, and they're in the playoffs right now, so that's pretty impressive.
It is, Panger. It is. I hope you're doing too good in Buffalo there. I think last time we were in Buffalo together might have been a father's trip with the St. Louis Blues. I know you guys had a late night there.
Yes, it was.
Having beer and wings, eh, buddy?
I took all the dads. You're right.
Yeah, you took care of everybody. We were chatting the other day there just about the Hawks and where they're at. And obviously, you've been so good to me throughout my career. And as a fellow goalie, I'd be remiss to talk about Spencer Knight and what he's been for this Hawks team and how good he's been. And I had a chance to talk with Norm McIver this summer, another Thunder Bay guy, the assistant general manager. And he kind of called this. He said Spencer's ready for the big stage. He's ready to carry the mail. What have you seen from him so far?
Yeah, you're right about that. And there's not a question in my mind that he's a top goaltender in the league. I felt bad for him last night, Hutz. I mean, it's a 2-0 lead in the third period and 3 consecutive goals by Seattle, and he gets the yell. They don't even get a point in the game. So they were a very discouraged and sour bunch. I mean, last year it would have been one of those, this is a learning moment. This year this is an unacceptable moment. But his preparation, Hutz, and his mechanics, especially in the game today where you see a lot of goal line plays, a lot of jam plays, where I look back at my career, I don't think I'd be able to, besides being really small, I don't think I'd be able to handle the jam plays down low. And his ability to go post to post and seal the posts and seal the short side is remarkable. But he's also a great puck handler too, Hutz. He's got very good hockey sense. And so he makes good plays out of his own zone. He makes good handoffs to his defensemen. So his defensemen don't often get jammed. And so those are a lot of elite areas for Spencer Knight. And Arvid Soderblom will play tonight in Buffalo. And he's been really good as well. But there's no denying that Spencer Knight is the number one guy here. And shoot, I mean, if there was any injuries to any of the U.S. goaltenders going forward, this he's ready to step in because he's been as good as basically any of them. Maybe Hellebuck's got the step ahead of him. Swayman's had a good season, but if they need a plan B, I think he's ready for them.
You know what, Panger? I think Arvid Soderblom has been one of the most improved goalies in the last, since he's come into the NHL, and it's been great to watch. So for me, the other guy that is just kind of flies under the radar because of Frank Nazar, because of Connor Bedard, is Tyler Bertuzzi. And what is that veteran grinder? He's a guy that wears it. I played a lot of games against him. He's a menace to play against as a goalie because he's in your face. He does all the things that you want a guy on your team to do. What's your take of his game so far?
It's funny you say that, Hutz, because I asked a lot of people before he signed last year with the Hawks, and one of them was Dylan Larkin, and I said, hey, give me something on Bertuzzi. I've never gotten to know him at all. even when you're between the benches, he's kind of in Detroit at Little Caesars. Between every whistle, every commercial break, he was always in the back hallways, always changing gloves. I'd go to the locker room to talk to him, and I could never find the guy, So anyway, when I first met him, like really met him, I'm like, okay, Tyler, listen, everybody says this about you. I said, I got to get to know you a little bit more. He goes, well, that's great. I said, well, that's how we started it off. Just by having a conversation in there. Now I'm watching the little things that he does, how many board battles he wins that a lot of players just don't simply win. How he gets his body along the boards and it leads with his stick. And then he somehow separates the man from the puck with a long stick and a one hand on his stick. And, last night he made a play, a dump in on the right side. Somehow he came across and he used his stick and with one hand on his stick, he got it on the heel of it with such firmness. It went over to Teravainen and it surprised two Seattle Kraken. You got to see this play because it's classic Bertuzzi. And I said, no one makes a play with one hand on his stick or on his knees better than Tyler Bertuzzi. The guy is very, very unique. I will say this. I don't think he was 100% healthy last year when he signed with the team. I think he was coming off maybe a small back surgery. This year, I can see the Tyler Bertuzzi that he is. He's stronger and he's bigger than I thought he was. And so I always thought kind of he was a tall, lanky, scrawny guy because that's kind of the way he looks, He's got that long flowing hair and he kind of looks kind of squirmy out there. But then you see him in a t-shirt and jeans and you're like, this is a big body. And he uses that. So, he's been excellent, especially on the power play. And again, he scored last night. He had a goal and 1 assist last night. So really a great find for Norm McIver and for the Blackhawks. And he's fitting in really well right now.
I wanted to ask you about Jeff Blashill. There are plenty of examples throughout the history of the league of coaches who find way more success in their second stint as a bench boss than their first. And listen, Detroit, it was a long tenure, but it didn't go necessarily well. He goes and studies under John Cooper on that Bolts bench for a couple of years. And so far, it's looking like a great marriage between him and the Chicago Blackhawks. What makes him the right coach for this group?
Yeah, I agree with what you said about Blash. And again, I've known him personally, and I have a lake house in Michigan. I played some golf with him. I guess I found, like a lot of people, that when he was associated with Mike Babcock, is he the same coach as Mike Babcock? Because so many times they're together and they sounded the same. They use the same catchphrase words. And so I think by going and staying with Detroit during the tough years, really tough years, and I give Steve Yzerman a lot of credit because it would have been easy for Steve to take over Detroit and just remove Jeff Blashill and go to the next guy. But he kept him. And a couple of times I asked him about the coaching situation. He said he's the best coach available. And even though, they were a team floundering because they didn't have many assets and they obviously were a young team, but not good enough to contend, he still did a great job with that organization. So when he goes off to Tampa Bay, now he gets to be with John Cooper that he's known for a while. Now he gets a little bit of a different view on how maybe John Cooper handles the bench, how he handles the locker room, how he handles his assistants. And John Cooper has done a better job, he admits, over the last few years of handing off assignments to his assistant coaches and not just a one-man show the whole time. So for Jeff Blashill, he's the perfect guy for this team because he's a teacher. He talks with authority. He's accountable. And what he's done with this team is show them winning hockey clips and losing hockey clips. And that's basically what he does. And he doesn't beat you up individually. I think he's very fair and very good. And he's teaching these guys how to play good hockey.
Which is so important, right? With a younger group, and you don't want things to trend in the wrong direction too long. So when I look at this team, Panger, you get to follow them all the time, right? You know what's going on. Help our viewers understand who is like an undercover player for the Hawks that's been a big difference maker. Because we always have these players that don't get a lot of limelight. We talk about the Bedards and the Bertuzzis and the Knights, but who is a difference maker for this team that we don't see on a nightly basis on the stat sheet?
I would probably say two guys. Ilya Mikheyev, that you played against Huts. And in fact, Eddie Olczyk was doing the game for Seattle last night, and we were just going back and forth with information. And he goes, "Boy, that Mikheyev is a better player than I thought he was." And I said, you watch him every single day, low maintenance, seems to never get injured, skates hard, works hard, real professional, comes ready for practice. The Hawks power play and penalty kill are top. I think the power play is maybe top 12 now, but it was top 8. The penalty kill top 6 or 7, and Mikheyev and Turbo Teravainen. I think he doesn't get enough enough credit because he's so unassuming. You know, he's not overly physical. He'd walk down the street, you probably hardly think he's a professional hockey player. He doesn't have that, you know, that body that says, "Oh man, that's a powerful forward in the NHL." But he's slick. He's give it goes. His hockey sense and his creativity is really, really good. So I'm going to throw those two guys right there with Alex Vlasic on the back end. I just think that Vlasic is a stud. He's a goalie's best friend. He takes a lot of space away. He's a big redwood tree back there, and he gets the puck out of his zone with one clean pass. So those would be my three guys that maybe don't get enough attention.
Man, I think Vlasic, it's not obviously going to happen this year, but 4 years from now, next Winter Olympics, I think he's a guy who could sneaky get into the conversation.
I agree with you on that, Tyler. I think, and you know, maybe he's in there now, but they're so deep on the back end, but they've got a lot of similar players. USA does, all very, very good puck movers. I mean, you can probably throw five guys that can run the power play, but you still need defenders. You still need guys that are going to eat up the penalty kill minutes when the game's on the line and it's 2-2 and it's elimination game. And that's where I would put my vote to Alex Vlasic. So don't know if he's going to make it. And I agree with you. He certainly will be in the mix at least 4 years from now, if not this year.
Darren Pang, CHSN and NHL on TNT. Appreciate you popping on and doing this. We'll chat soon.
It is my pleasure. Thanks. Hutz, I'll take care of the chicken wings for you. Okay, pal?
That's my man, buddy. I'll tell Jack you said hi.
Okay, you got it, bud. Take care.
Hey, hockey fans, if you enjoyed that video, then make sure you hit the subscribe button right here on the Daily Faceoff YouTube. We have you covered for everything you need. Exclusive interviews on The Sheet with Jeff Merrick, all the latest hockey news on Daily Faceoff Live, and you can always get your morning started with Johnny Lazarus and Colby Cohn on Morning Cup of Hockey. Don't miss a minute. Hit that subscribe button.